Have you ever faced a season in life where it felt like every door was closing in your face? You knocked, you prayed, you worked hard, but nothing seemed to happen. Let me encourage you today. Closed doors don't mean God has forgotten you. Closed doors mean He is preparing the right door, one that will exceed your expectations, fulfill your purpose, and take you where you never dreamed you could go. Have you ever felt the sting of a closed door, a missed opportunity, or a dream deferred? It can be discouraging, even heartbreaking, to work so hard for something only to see it slip through your fingers. But I want to encourage you today, every closed door in your life is not a defeat, it's a divine setup. When one door closes, it's not the end of the story. It's often the beginning of something better, something greater than you could have planned for yourself. It's easy to look at a closed door and feel as though you failed or that something is wrong with you. Maybe you didn't get the promotion you prayed for, or the business idea didn't take off the way you had hoped. Perhaps a relationship you thought was the one came to an unexpected end. In those moments, doubt and fear creep in, whispering, "You're not good enough. It's never going to happen." But those whispers are not the truth. The truth is that a closed door is not a denial from God. It's a redirection toward His greater plan for your life. Sometimes the doors we want to walk through aren't the ones we're meant to walk through. God, in His infinite wisdom, sees what we cannot see. He sees the pitfalls on the other side of that door. He sees how that opportunity might limit your potential, how that relationship might hold you back, or how that path might not lead to the purpose He's designed for you. What feels like rejection is often God's protection. He's not trying to harm you. He's positioning you for something far better than you could imagine. Think about a puzzle. When you're in the middle of putting it together, the pieces don't always seem to fit. You might try to force one into place, but it doesn't work no matter how hard you push. That's how life feels sometimes. We try to force open a door, convinced it's the right one, only to find resistance. What we don't realize is that God is holding that door closed because it doesn't fit the bigger picture He's creating in our lives. It's not rejection. It's redirection. It's God saying, "I have a better piece for you, one that fits perfectly into the masterpiece I'm crafting." When a door closes, it's natural to feel disappointed. But instead of dwelling on what didn't happen, shift your perspective. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" ask, "What is God preparing me for?" When one door closes, it's because another is about to open, and the new door will lead you in place of greater blessing, greater influence, and greater fulfillment. But you have to trust the process. You have to believe that God is working all things together for your good, even when you don't see it. Take a moment to think about the story of Joseph in the Bible. He had a dream that he would be in a position of great authority, but before that dream came to pass, he faced door after door being slammed in his face. He was sold into slavery, falsely accused, and thrown into prison. At any point, Joseph could have given up, thinking, "This isn't what I signed up for. My dream is never going to happen." But Joseph didn't give up. He trusted that every closed door was leading him closer to the fulfillment of God's promise. And in the end, Joseph didn't just achieve his dream, he exceeded it. He became second in command over all of Egypt, saving countless lives in the process. Like Joseph, we must learn to trust that God's plan is bigger than our understanding. When a door closes, it's not because God has forgotten you or because He's punishing you. It's because He's preparing you. Sometimes He's working behind the scenes, aligning the right people, the right circumstances, and the right timing. Other times, He's working within you, refining your character, building your faith, and preparing you for the blessings ahead. Either way, every closed door is part of His divine setup. So the next time a door closes in your life, don't lose heart. Don't let disappointment take root. Instead, lift your eyes and say, "God, I trust You. I know You're in control. I believe that this closed door is leading me to something better." When you walk with that mindset, you position yourself to receive the greater things God has in store for you. The closed door isn't the end. It's the beginning of a new chapter filled with purpose, blessing, and divine favor. Waiting can be one of the most challenging seasons of life. When we're praying, hoping, and working towards something, it's natural to want it to happen immediately. But life doesn't always operate on our timetable. The truth is, God's timing is always perfect, and when it feels like nothing is happening. It's in the waiting that we learn to trust, to grow, and to prepare for the blessings He has in store for us. The waiting season is not a wasted season. It's easy to think that if things aren't moving forward, then somehow we're stuck or forgotten. But God doesn't forget His promises. When you're waiting, God is working behind the scenes in ways you can't see. He's aligning circumstances, opening the right doors, and preparing you for what's ahead. If you were to receive the blessing too soon, you might not be ready for it. The waiting is where He shapes you, where He strengthens your faith, and where He builds your character so you can sustain the blessings when they come. Think of a farmer who plants seeds in the ground. After planting, there's no immediate harvest. The farmer doesn't stand over the soil every day, shouting at it to grow. He trusts the process, knowing that the seed needs time to take root, to grow beneath the surface before it's ready to break through the ground. Your dreams, your goals, and your prayers are like those seeds. Just because you don't see anything happening doesn't mean nothing is happening. Growth often starts in the unseen places, and in time it will manifest into something beautiful. It's tempting to try to rush the process. We think if I just push a little harder, if I make this happen on my own, maybe I can speed things up. But forcing things to happen outside of God's timing often leads to frustration and disappointment. When we try to take matters into our own hands, we're essentially saying, God, I don't trust your plan. I think I know better. But God's timing is always better. He sees the bigger picture. He knows the right time, the right place, and the right people to bring into your life. During the waiting season, it's important to stay faithful. Keep doing what you know to do. Keep praying. Keep serving. Keep being excellent where you are. Sometimes we're so focused on what's next that we miss the opportunities and lessons right in front of us. The waiting season is often a time of preparation. It's where God equips you for the next level. If you're not faithful where you are, how can you expect to handle the blessings that are coming? Consider the story of David in the Bible. Before he became king, David spent years tending sheep in the fields. He was anointed to be king as a young boy, but the promise didn't come to pass immediately. David could have grown bitter, thinking, why am I stuck out here when I'm supposed to be on the throne? But instead, he stayed faithful. He used his time in the fields to develop his skills, to grow closer to God, and to prepare for the responsibilities ahead. When the time came, David was ready to step into his destiny because he had been faithful in the waiting. The waiting season can also be a time of pruning. God may remove things from your life that aren't meant to go with you in the next chapter. It might feel uncomfortable or even painful, but it's necessary for growth. Just as a gardener prunes a plant to help it grow stronger, God may prune certain relationships, habits, or mindsets that would hold you back from the blessings He has for you. Trust that this process is for your good and that it's leading you closer to His plan for your life. It's in the waiting that our faith is tested and strengthened. It's easy to have faith when everything is going according to plan, but true faith is believing in God's goodness, even when you don't see immediate results. It's trusting that His timing is perfect, even when you're tempted to doubt. Faith is what sustains you during the waiting season. It's what keeps you hopeful, what keeps you pressing forward, and what prepares you for the blessings ahead. When you're waiting, don't lose sight of the fact that God's delays are not denials. They are a sign that something better is on the horizon. Trust that He is in control, that He has a purpose for the waiting, and that His timing will always bring you to the right place at the right time. Waiting isn't easy, but it's in the waiting that you grow stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the life He has planned for you. Rejection can be one of the hardest things to experience. Whether it's a missed opportunity, a failed relationship, or a dream that didn't come to pass, it's natural to feel disappointed and even defeated. But what if rejection isn't the end of the story? What if rejection is actually God's way of redirecting you towards something better, something you couldn't see for yourself? Too often we see rejection as a stop sign, but in reality, it's a detour, a divine redirection toward a greater purpose. When we face rejection, our first instinct is to take it personally. We think, what did I do wrong? Why wasn't I good enough? What's wrong with me? But rejection is not a reflection of your worth. It's not an indicator that you failed or that you're not capable. Instead, it's often God's way of protecting you from something that wasn't meant for you. Sometimes we're so focused on what we want that we don't realize it might not be what we need. God in His infinite wisdom sees the bigger picture. He knows what lies ahead, and He knows what's best for us, even when it doesn't align with our plans. Think of a parent who tells their child no when they ask for something that isn't good for them. The child may not understand why they can't have what they want, but the parent sees the potential danger or harm that the child doesn't. In the same way, God closes doors in our lives to protect us, even when we don't understand why. What feels like rejection in the moment is often God's way of saying, I have something better for you. Trust me. Rejection is also a tool for growth. It's in the moments of disappointment that we learn resilience, perseverance, and trust in God's plan. If everything always went our way, we'd never have the opportunity to grow. Rejection forces us to dig deeper, to rely on our faith, and to keep moving forward even when the path isn't clear. It's in these moments that God shapes our character and prepares us for the next chapter of our lives. Consider the story of Peter in the Bible. After Jesus was arrested, Peter denied Him 3 times out of fear. When Peter realized what he had done, he felt an overwhelming sense of failure and rejection. But Jesus didn't leave Peter in that place of despair. Instead, he used that moment to restore and redirect Peter, ultimately preparing him to become a foundational leader in the early church. What looked like a moment of rejection was actually a turning point that led Peter into his true purpose. Rejection often serves as redirection to God's best for our lives. Maybe you didn't get the job you prayed for, and now you feel like you missed out. But what if that job would have limited your growth or taken you away from your true calling? Maybe the relationship you thought would last forever came to an end, and now you feel heartbroken. But what if God is preparing someone who will love and support you in ways you've never experienced? Trust that every closed door is leading you to an open door that is aligned with God's purpose for your life. Sometimes the rejection we face is not about us at all. It's about the greater plan God is working out. Joseph's story is a powerful example of this. He was rejected by his brothers, sold into slavery and falsely accused, spending years in prison for a crime he didn't commit. At any point, Joseph could have become bitter and given up, but he chose to trust that God was in control. Eventually, Joseph was elevated to a position of power in Egypt, where he was able to save countless lives during a famine. What looked like rejection after rejection was actually God's way of positioning Joseph for his destiny. It's important to remember that rejection is not the end of the road. It's a stepping stone to something greater. Every no is a setup for a better yes. But we have to be willing to let go of what didn't work out and trust that God has something better in store. Holding on to past disappointments only keeps us stuck. When we release the pain of rejection and open ourselves to God's redirection, we position ourselves for the blessings and opportunities He has prepared for us. Rejection can feel like a setback, but it's often a setup for a comeback. It's God's way of closing the wrong doors so He can open the right ones. It's a reminder to trust His plan, even when we don't understand it. Instead of letting rejection discourage you, let it redirect you. Keep your faith strong, knowing that God is working all things together for your good. Trust that He's leading you toward the path that will bring you greater fulfillment, joy, and purpose. In life, it's easy to become discouraged when progress seems slow or we don't see the results we're hoping for. We pray, we work hard, and we do everything we can to move forward, but sometimes it feels like nothing is happening. In those moments, it's crucial to remember the power of your words. What you speak over your life has the ability to shape your reality. Even when you don't see progress, you must keep speaking victory, because what you declare with your mouth can determine what you experience in your life. Words are not just sounds or expressions, they are seeds. When you speak words of faith, hope, and victory, you're planting seeds that will eventually bear fruit in your life. On the other hand, when you speak words of doubt, fear, or negativity, you're planting seeds that can produce discouragement and delay. It's not enough to believe in your heart. You must declare with your mouth. There's power in speaking out what you want to see happen, even when the circumstances around you don't yet reflect it. Consider a farmer planting a field. When the seeds are buried in the soil, there's no visible evidence that anything is happening. Yet the farmer doesn't doubt that a harvest will come. He waters the seeds, tends the soil, and nurtures the crops, trusting that the growth is happening beneath the surface. In the same way, when you speak victory over your life, you're watering the seeds of faith. Even if you can't see the results immediately, you can trust that growth is happening in the unseen realm. The words you speak today are shaping the future you'll experience tomorrow. When you face challenges, it's easy to let negative words slip out. You might say things like, I'll never get ahead, things are never going to change, or this is just too hard. But those words only reinforce the obstacles in your path. Instead, choose to speak words that align with the outcome you desire. Say, I am blessed. Doors of opportunity are opening for me. I am strong and capable, or God is working all things together for my good. These declarations may not immediately change your circumstances, but they will begin to shift your mindset and your perspective, allowing you to see the possibilities instead of the problems. Think about the story of the Israelites when they were about to enter the promised land. 12 spies were sent to scout the land, and 10 of them came back with a negative report. They said, the land is good, but we can't take it. The people are too strong, and the cities are too fortified. Their words created fear and doubt among the people, causing them to miss out on God's promise. But 2 of the spies, Joshua and Caleb, had a different perspective. They said, we are well able to take the land. If God is with us, nothing can stop us. Their words reflected faith, not fear, and as a result, they were the ones who eventually entered the promised land. The words you speak in the face of challenges have the power to shape the outcome. When everything seems to be going wrong, that's when it's important to speak victory. It's easy to speak faith when everything is going well, but true faith is declaring God's promises even when you're in the middle of a storm. Say, I may be going through a difficult time, but I know this is only temporary. I know God is bringing me through to the other side. Your words can lift you out of despair and give you the strength to keep moving forward. Speaking victory doesn't mean ignoring reality or pretending everything is perfect. It means choosing to focus on God's promises rather than the problems in front of you. It's about declaring what you believe, even when you can't yet see it. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. When you speak faith-filled words, you're calling into existence the things you're believing for. Your words are not just for you, they also impact those around you. When you speak life and encouragement, you create an atmosphere of hope and possibility. Others are drawn to your positivity and faith, and they too begin to believe in what's possible. Your words can inspire, uplift, and motivate those around you to see beyond their current circumstances. So even when progress seems slow or invisible, refuse to let negative words take root. Choose to speak victory over your life, over your dreams, and over your future. Trust that the seeds you're planting with your words will grow and produce a harvest in due time. Keep declaring that the best is yet to come, and hold on to the belief that your words are paving the way for the blessings and breakthroughs you're waiting for. There are moments in life when we feel overlooked, undervalued, or stuck in a place that doesn't seem to align with the dreams and promises we hold in our hearts. It's easy to question, why am I still here? Why haven't I moved forward yet? But I want to remind you today that no matter where you are, no matter how hidden or insignificant your situation may feel, God knows where you are. He hasn't forgotten you. He hasn't abandoned His plan for your life. In fact, He's working behind the scenes to position you for the opportunities that are ahead. It's easy to look at others and think, why are they being promoted? Why are their dreams coming true while I'm still waiting? But comparison is a trap. God's plan for your life is unique, not limited by what's happening around you. Just because you haven't seen progress yet doesn't mean it isn't coming. God knows exactly where you are, and when the time is right, He will bring the right people, the right opportunities, and the right circumstances into your life. Consider the story of David in the Bible. When Samuel came to anoint the next king of Israel, David wasn't even invited to the lineup. He was out in the fields tending sheep, overlooked and forgotten by his own family. But God hadn't forgotten David. He knew exactly where David was, and He sent Samuel to find him. David didn't have to strive, push, or promote himself. He simply remained faithful where he was, and at the appointed time, God brought him into the place He had been preparing for him all along. Sometimes we feel like we have to make things happen on our own. We think if I don't promote myself, if I don't push my way forward, I'll never be noticed. But promotion doesn't come from people, it comes from God. He's the one who opens doors that no one can shut and shuts doors that no one can open. When God's favor is on your life, you don't have to force your way into opportunities. He will make a way where there seems to be no way. Think about the process of preparing a seed for planting. Before the seed can grow, it has to be buried in the soil. From the outside, it looks like nothing is happening. It's hidden, out of sight, and seemingly insignificant. But beneath the surface, something is happening. The seed is being transformed, taking root and preparing to break through the ground. The same is true for you. Even when you feel hidden, when it seems like no one notices your efforts, God sees you. He's working in the hidden places, developing your character, refining your gifts, and preparing you for the season of growth that's ahead. Being hidden is not the same as being forgotten. Sometimes God keeps us in a hidden season to protect us from things we're not ready for. If we were elevated too soon, we might not be able to handle the responsibilities, challenges, or pressures that come with the next level. The hidden season is a season of preparation. It's where God equips you, strengthens you, and molds you into the person you need to be for the doors He's going to open. Joseph's life is another powerful example. He had a dream that he would one day be in a position of great influence, but before that dream came to pass, he went through years of being hidden. He was sold into slavery, falsely accused, and thrown into prison. From the outside, it looked like Joseph's life was going in the opposite direction of his dream, but God knew where Joseph was. He was with him in every step of the journey, preparing him for the day when he would rise to a position of power in Egypt. When the time was right, God elevated Joseph, and his hidden season became a testimony of God's faithfulness. When you're in a hidden season, it's important to remain faithful where you are. Keep showing up, keep doing your best, and keep trusting that God is in control. The work you do in the hidden places matters. It's laying the foundation for what's to come. You may not see the fruit of your labor right away, but every act of faithfulness, every moment of diligence is preparing you for the opportunities that are ahead. God is not limited by time, circumstances, or people. He doesn't need anyone's permission to bless you or promote you. When the time is right, He will open the right door, and nothing will be able to stop His plan for your life. Trust that He knows where you are, and believe that your hidden season is a part of His greater purpose for you. Stay patient, stay faithful, and know that God's timing is always perfect. Life has a way of presenting us with detours, delays, and disappointments that we never anticipated. We set out on a path, confident in our direction, only to find obstacles blocking the way. It's in these moments that we're tempted to feel defeated, to question why things aren't working out, and to wonder if we'll ever reach the destination we've envisioned. But I want to encourage you today, the delays and setbacks in your life are not a sign that God has forgotten you. They are part of His divine plan, preparing you for something greater. The delays are not denials, they are opportunities for God to do something extraordinary in your life. Sometimes we get so focused on the destination that we forget about the journey. We think, if I could just get there, everything would be better. But God isn't just concerned about where you're going. He's also concerned about who you're becoming along the way. The delays you face are not wasted time. They are seasons of preparation where God is molding you, refining you, and equipping you for what lies ahead. If you were to step into your destiny prematurely, you might not be ready for it. The delay is not a punishment. It's a gift, ensuring that you'll be able to sustain the blessings when they arrive. Consider the story of Moses leading the Israelites out of Egypt. What should have been an 11-day journey to the promised land turned into a 40-year trek through the wilderness. It wasn't because God couldn't take them there faster. It was because the people needed time to grow, to learn, and to trust Him. The delay was part of the process. In the wilderness, God provided for them, taught them lessons of faith, and prepared them to step into the land He had promised. The journey wasn't just about reaching the destination, it was about becoming the people they needed to be to inhabit the promise. Delays are often opportunities for God to protect us. Sometimes we're in such a hurry to move forward that we don't see the dangers ahead. God, in His infinite wisdom, may close a door or slow us down to shield us from something we're not ready for. What feels like a setback is actually God's plan of protection. Trust that His timing is perfect, even when it doesn't match your expectations. He sees what you cannot see and knows what you do not know. Think about Joseph, who had a dream of greatness as a young man. He knew God had placed a vision in his heart, but the path to that dream was anything but straightforward. Joseph faced betrayal, slavery, false accusations, and years in prison. From the outside, it looked like his life was going in the wrong direction, but every delay was part of God's plan. Each step of Joseph's journey prepared him for the day when he would rise to a position of influence and save countless lives during a famine. What seemed like detours were actually stepping stones to his destiny. The delays you face are not random. They are purposeful. God is using them to prepare the right people, the right circumstances, and the right opportunities for you. Sometimes He is working on things in the background that you cannot see. While you're waiting, God is aligning the pieces, orchestrating events, and setting the stage for your breakthrough. If He were to move too soon, the timing wouldn't be right, and the full blessing wouldn't come to fruition. Trust that His timing is not only perfect, but intentional, designed for your ultimate good. It's easy to grow weary in the waiting. We can start to feel like nothing is happening and that our efforts are in vain. But this is when faith comes into play. Faith is believing in what you cannot see, trusting in what you cannot yet understand. It's holding on to the promise that God is working all things together for your good, even when it doesn't feel like it. Use the waiting time to strengthen your relationship with Him, to grow in character, and to prepare yourself for the blessings that are on the horizon. Delays also teach us patience and perseverance. They remind us that life is not always about instant gratification. Sometimes the most significant blessings take time to unfold. The longer the wait, the greater the reward. When a farmer plants a seed, he doesn't expect a harvest the next day. He understands that the seed needs time to grow, to develop roots, and to reach its full potential. In the same way, the dreams and promises God has placed in your heart need time to mature. Don't give up just because the harvest hasn't come yet. Keep watering the seed with your faith, your prayers, and your trust in God's plan. Remember that God is not just interested in the destination, He's interested in the journey. He's using every delay to shape you, every setback to strengthen you, and every obstacle to prepare you for what's ahead. The delays are not there to discourage you, but to equip you for the greater things He has in store. Trust that when the time is right, He will open the door and everything will fall into place exactly as it's meant to. Ladies and gentlemen, remember that God's timing is perfect even when it doesn't align with our own. Every delay, every setback, and every moment of waiting is part of His divine plan, preparing us for something greater. Trust that He knows what's best for you and that He's working behind the scenes, aligning the right people, opportunities, and circumstances for your future. Keep your faith strong, speak words of victory, and remain patient, knowing that when the right door opens, it will be exactly the one you were meant to walk through. Your breakthrough is on the way. Keep trusting, keep believing, and know that God will open the right door at the right time.